Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian!
Hey, everybody, it's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. We're thrilled to death that you are listening to our show. Yes, y'all. It's time for another bit of fun with Todd and Tony. Rob's gone.
Where's Rob?
Rob's working on amps again. Whatever. But we are joined by a significant builder in the community. Significant builder, who are you?
I'm Barton McGuire. I'm the founder of a new pedal company called Cosmodio Instruments.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it first here.
Yes.
First.
That's
what's up with that. We attack. We're like Velociraptor.
Right to the jugular.
Yes.
No, you found us immediately. It's very, it's great.
Slow-moving Velociraptor. Anyhow, we're really thrilled to death because we've got a couple of pedals from you. It is the same pedal, but a couple nonetheless.
Yes.
For us to play with. This is a really cool gizmo, everybody. Where can people go find more information on this, Barton?
Sure. So people can learn about it on Instagram or cosmodio.instruments. But then you can find our pedals and you can purchase them on our website, cosmode.io, or on reverb.com.
Cosmo.io.
You got it.
Cosmode.io. How clever is Barton?
Well,
the
it's
name
rare.
is the URL. Jeez.
That's a rare, special
rare.
thing to find. Yes. So I was pretty happy about that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we were going to be the Guitar Knobs Yo, but it didn't really roll off the tongue so much. Okay, more fun like that coming up, everybody.
Hopefully.
So listen, we've got a couple. Let's catch up on just a little bit what's going on with this. All right.
Well, I thought do we have any announcements?
Well, that's what I'm doing.
No, you're catching up on us.
Hey, here's some announcements. So, hey, everybody, let's catch up on what we're doing here. We just got through giving away all those warm pedals. That was so much fun to do.
It was.
And we made 7 people very happy.
They loved them.
Yes.
They
cannot
absolutely
thank
loved them.
Warm for that enough. That was very, very generous. And I hate to tell you,
What?
well, we have 2 more sets of pedal giveaways.
Not more.
I know. It's really sucking the life out of me.
I didn't get royalties off the last video
doing
I did.
all these videos and that.
Jeez.
No, that's ridiculous. We love doing this. It's the best thing ever. So we're not going to, hey, we need to spread out the love a little bit.
Yeah.
The warm body's not even cold yet.
See what I did there? Oh, yeah, it's clever.
So, yeah, come be that'll be coming up here pretty soon.
Ba-da-ba-da.
Yes. So, also in other news, I know that NAMM's coming up for a lot of folks in the summer. That's like right around the corner, isn't it?
But is that a real NAMM show?
Well, yes. For those who are there, it is.
No, but I think it's more like a seminar kind of thing.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's geared more towards retailers.
I'm still paying for the last one, so I wasn't trying to focus on this one.
Well, those interest charges will get you every time.
I know.
But no, because I was considering going. It's down in Nashville again. Mm-hmm. And I think it's only a 2-day thing, but I don't know that they're going to have display spaces.
Barton, are you any smarter about this than we are?
I don't know the finer details of Summer NAMM. I do believe it's in Nashville.
It is. Yes.
But I my understanding is, as I'm sure everyone's aware, that it's not the same scale as January NAMM. But
no.
Yeah, I don't know if it's all seminars or if there's stuff if there's cool people.
It's like going to see the
stuff.
Mudheads and hens instead of the Indians.
Wow.
Right?
I like the Mudheads.
Wait, no, the Mudheads are Toledo.
Toledo.
Shoot, I messed up that
joke. You mean
joke.
the Clippers?
I don't even know my own state.
Yeah. You're such a sports fanatic. It surprises me.
Fanatical about it. Well, anyways, hey, if you're going, cool, enjoy.
Yeah, let us know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
we were already starting to talk about maybe next year.
I heard some rumblings.
And there's rumblings. Barton, is that something that you would be finding yourself at?
Yeah, that's like a major goal for next year. I meant to go to more of the trade shows. I've been to a couple small things that are more local to me here. But part of me wants to get to Mutech. Part of me wants to get to Summer NAMM. But honestly, I'm eyeballs deep in just trying to get this company started and get it going and fulfill orders as they're coming in and just sort of like, handle what the universe is bringing me and that I'm grateful for. But yeah, I don't know if I have my like stuff together enough to be hitting the road yet, but that's like definitely next year. I mean, I want to be doing all that.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll just, we'll see what's going on. Keep in touch. I think that's really kind of it for the most part. Did you have something, Tony? You're looking at me like I'm supposed to know something.
You should.
I should, but I don't.
I can't believe you don't know.
Very
it.
little.
Oh, well. We'll just have to save it.
Yeah, let's find out what's going on in our music world this week. We're going to check in with Tanya Polonsky, and then we'll hop over and find out what's going on with the Barton McGuire of Cosmodio.
Yes. Well, this week, I happen to, speaking of Toledo, I happen to be up in Toledo this past Thursday, Friday, and over the weekend. And I had a chance to hobnob and converse with none other than Ken Haas from Reverend Guitars.
Yes.
Reverend Guitars is now based in Toledo, Ohio. They were...
In Cleveland.
No.
They were in
Warren,
Georgia.
Warren, Michigan.
Really?
Yeah, just north of of Detroit.
Okay,
that's where Joe Naylor started the company.
Yeah.
Up in Warren, and he actually still lives up there. He is still involved with the company, but Kenny bought the Reverend and also Railhammer pickups from Joe years ago.
Yeah,
and so now the whole shebang is.
He's like the barefoot guy in Mad Men.
Yeah,
the guy who only he never comes out of his office.
Yes,
but he's always barefoot in his office. And he's surrounded by all the Japanese stuff. I can't remember the character's name, but he's that guy.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, Joe is the sensei, and he does still. He's heavily involved with design work and kind of picking apart what artists are looking for.
And we always see Ken at all the shows, and
Ken and Joe.
Yeah.
Joe Naylor.
Yeah, we talked. Yeah, we talked to him last time.
Yeah, I know we did. Jeez, do you have to repeat everything I say? It's getting so irritating. But anyhow, I hadn't been to the new facility, and I was up there. And Friday morning, I ran over, and we did a quick little walk through their. It's kind of a distribution center setup joint. They've got studio space there. They've got like a front room, tryout room. And, of course, general offices. And really, really quite nice. We're going to shoot for seeing if we can get Ken and gang on a future episode.
Yep.
Because it's, I've been a fan.
Time.
I've been a fan of Reverend Guitars for years. And, it's...
many people have.
Yes. Yeah. Many people.
Well, and that's why I brought that up. Like we've run into them so many times that between the NAMM stuff and all the shows around here.
Well, they've done a really good job, and mostly by participating. I mean, they'll go to, like the Dallas Guitar Show. They used to come to the Columbus Guitar Show, so they made a ritual of attending guitar shows. So I think it gave them a much larger presence than the company may actually be. So. That's my world this week.
Perfect. Barton, how about yourself?
Yeah, I've got some music making stuff and some gear adventures. My band, Dead Pixels, we have our second single is due to come out on June 11th.
Ooh.
The first one's out already. It's called Monochrome. The second one will be called Time Is Nigh. And yeah, we're a brand new band, so we're just getting that going. It's like a psychedelic shoegazy thing, so I'm really happy to get that stuff out in the world.
How do you spell that?
So you spell that, we spell it in a funny way. It's spelled DEDPIXELS.
Got it.
It's one word. Yeah.
No A. One word.
There's no A. No.
Okay.
We're just trying to be playful.
All right. I'm going to give that a little spin on the way home, as they say.
Yeah. Right on. Yeah. So looking forward to that. And then, one sort of gear, I don't know, it's kind of revelatory gear thing for me. It's not quite a guitar thing, but we played a show last weekend. It was our second show. Like I said, this is a new band. And it went great, but I I used in-ear monitors for the first time, and I've never done this before. I'm the singer in the band in addition to playing guitar, and I've always sort of found it ridiculous, like going to, and these are,
Like
for
a
the
small
most part, I
club.
play small
Yeah.
venues. Yeah. And like seeing someone, and, sometimes you see people in these small clubs on small stages and like bars or whatever with in-ears, and it just seems like over the top and not very punk rock. And I always sort of rolled my eyes at it. But, in prior bands, either I'm not the one singing or I'm singing and it's a different style and I'm like singing really loud and it's easier to monitor myself. But this is like a shoegazy thing. So we've got like crushingly loud guitars and I'm singing in this kind of understated way. And the first show we played, the sound guy did a really good job. He was like trying to help, but if he wanted to get the monitor wedges up so I could hear my voice, it was just feeding back like crazy.
Yeah.
And so I had a miserable show the last time. I'm told it sounded okay, but like it's like we were talking about before we started rolling, when you like can't be in the present moment, because I'm just like I'm making sounds with my voice, but I have no idea how they sound, and I have no idea if I'm in key or whatnot. And it's just like it was completely unable to enjoy performing whatsoever. And this time, like, I felt a little ridiculous. I almost didn't do it just out of like modesty or something, or feeling ridiculous putting in-ears in and like a dive bar. But I was like, no, I'm going to give this a try. I put them in. It was like completely, it was like a whole different thing. I wish I'd been doing that for years. Like I could hear myself so crystal clear. I had so much fun. Yeah. And
did you do the whole like end of show pop one out and like connect with the crowd?
No, I don't have all my like in-ear based antics down and pageantry yet, but I'll work on that. I'm still new, so I'm practicing.
The good thing
but that was a cool find.
The good thing about in-ears is that if you screw up, you can just take them out and like act all pissed. Like, damn, let's just rock, man.
Yeah, that's right. So anyway, that was cool. And then I got a guitar.
Wow.
Yesterday.
It was a big week.
It was a big week. Not a fancy guitar, but I've always wanted to try one with one of those sustainer systems built into it.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I found like a used Fernandez on reverb, basically one of the cheaper guitars with a sustainer I could buy, just to sort of give it a try and see if I like it.
Well, it makes
I don't
sense
know
for
if
that
I
kind
love
of music. I mean,
yeah, totally. I don't know if I love this guitar as a guitar, and that's what I deserve for just like finding the cheapest sustainer guitar out there. Yeah. And it's like a Strat styled thing, but it's all black and with black sort of hardware, and it kind of looks like one of those Jackson guitars from back in the day.
Yeah.
Took it to band practice last night, and my bassist told me that I looked like I was about to blow the roof off an 8th grade talent show.
Nice.
Yeah, which felt accurate. But yeah, I don't know. It sounds okay, not great. I'm going to try setting it up and see if I can get it to work for me. But it's cool trying the sustainer system. The thing that's really surprised me about that is how, like, obviously it's not obvious at all. But if you know the way it works, which is that it takes the sound from some of the pickups and then it sends that sound, amplifies it through the neck pickup. So instead of the neck pickup serving as a pickup to like detect the magnetic movement of your strings, it's like putting out a signal and transducing your strings into moving. So it is feedback, but like I didn't expect it to feel, it felt incredibly natural, like when you're standing next to your amp and it's really cranked and just like every chord you hold is just like feeding back and you almost can't stop it. It just felt incredibly like natural feedback, which I don't know.
That sounds cool, man.
Yeah, it's cool.
You're selling a lot of people on this thing.
It's fun to try. They've got it built into the Ed O'Brien Strat as well. Yeah. That's probably like a better guitar. Although I think some of the Fernandez, I don't know, there's like a whole line. Some of them are much nicer than the one I got. So I'm not trying to put them down.
On Reeves Gabrel's.
Yeah. On the Reverence. He has a Reverend model that has that built into it too.
Yeah.
That's what, I think he might have actually said it in an interview. If you try one of these once, you're never going to play another guitar without one.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you feel like that, Barton?
I mean, I would, like there's other guitars that I really, really love that don't have it, but all else equal, if I could just make that a feature on every guitar, absolutely.
Ooh.
Yeah.
High praise from Barton McGuire.
Well, I'm one of the, I don't know. I like my main guitar is a Jaguar. I like all the switches and all the like tweaky controls and stuff. So if you love simplicity, maybe that's not for you, but I'll take all sorts of stuff built into the guitar. I think that's fun.
I like it. That's very, very cool.
What about you, Todd?
Well,
are you getting there?
I almost got it out.
You almost blurted.
Yeah, but I did want to, before we go there, I did want to know, in-ears are something that, if you go to any major thing, if it was like, let's just say we'll go to NAMM, we brought that up a couple times. There's like, I don't know, 30 in-ear vendors there.
At least.
I mean, it's bananas.
Yeah.
But those also spread beyond. It's like they're in the pro audio, they're in the band, they're in the band area, they're in the DJ area, they're in the guitar area, they're in the drums area. Everywhere there's music, they're doing it. Which is, I think that's kind of daunting for someone who's just like, okay, so I'm thinking about getting an ear. And the differences between all of them and all the different makers, and everybody says these ones are the best. How did you find your way through that?
Oh man, not as prestigiously as any of that. I got basically the cheapest in-ears on Amazon that seemed like they might viably work. Like it, because it's not, at least for my application, I think for many people, for sound on stage. Having good sound on stage is not going to be about like the pristine, like how flat and unopinionated the upper mids are in the, it's you're in such a loud environment anyway. You're just sort of trying to have some direct connection to what's going on. Yeah. So, I mean, that's it. I haven't climbed that mountaintop. I don't know what good in-ears are like, but I got a pair of those like sort of headphones that, I don't know.
Are they molded to your ear? Or are they just like...
No, I've had the Etymotic Research earplugs for just like ear protection, that I have those custom molded to my ears, and that I recommend that to everybody listening. Okay, I mean, everyone who's done that knows.
Hold it. Sure, what is that? What?
Okay, so the place I got them, well, I think the brand is Etymotic Research. But I'm pretty sure, like, you go to your entomologist or your audiologist or whatever, whoever it is. Wait, I forget what an entomologist is. Maybe that's something else. Go to an audiologist, and what they'll make
that's
them
a bug
for
doctor.
You.
Yeah, entomology is.
I knew as soon as I said that, I was like, that's not the one.
Perhaps you have a worm in your ear.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a different problem that the earplugs are not going to help with. Yeah. No, but I mean, we all. Hopefully, people who are listening who are musicians who play in bands and stuff, like, use ear protection. It's really, really important.
Yeah.
So that you can enjoy playing music and listening to music for a long, long time, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, the custom molded ones are really worth it. I think it's some of the best money I've ever spent, and they last a long time. I've had mine for like 15 years, which is amazing.
Do they have like filters in them and stuff, or is it just a
glob of goo? There's filter plugs that you can change, and so you can get like 25 decibels of attenuation, or 15 or 5 decibels. Like, you can sort of customize it that way. And the nice thing about the molded ones, I'm getting real nerdy here with you guys, but the nice thing about the custom molded ones, unlike the relatively nice ones that sort of a lot of people use that are better than just sort of like foam plugs.
Eargasm.
Yeah.
Those things are amazing. I mean, as far as the ones you just, carry around and pop in your ear, those ones for sure take the cake.
And actually for listening to music, though, those are pretty darn good. But if you're making music, and especially if you're singing, the custom molded ones, they can like go a little deeper into your ear because they're molded to your ear, and so they block sound from the mid ear and not just the outer ear, which prevents the occlusion effect, which is when you plug your ears just like with your fingers and you like chomp on a tortilla chip or something, that's boxy sound, or if you start talking, your own voice sounds like really resonant and boxy in your head. These like block that too, so even as you sing, as you talk, you're hearing yourself relatively naturally, but attenuated by 25 decibels.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I got to get those for my singer. That's exactly what she needs.
Yeah, it's a really good thing to invest in.
How come we didn't talk about this before? How is this just coming up? Dad, burn it.
Don't know, Davey.
Better late than never.
Absolutely.
Okay, Davey. That's really weird. That we just had a Davy and Goliath connection.
Well, speaking of molded products, Todd, what's
Yeah.
going on in your music world this week?
Hey, who you calling molded product? Let's see here. I picked up a Peterson Mini. It's called the Strobo Stomp Mini.
Oh, it is small.
It is very small. It's just a touch too much.
It's a hair wider,
Bigger.
than the
Just a hair taller and a tiny bit wider, just a tiny bit wider than the trusty TC Polytune 3. I have the 3. I think there's a 4 out now already.
I think there's probably a 10 out by now.
But I love the Polytune.
Yeah. What do you love about it?
I love that it's white, so I can see it when it's off.
Yeah.
Because I don't like having it, going at me. So I like that it's white.
Yeah.
I like that it's very small.
Yeah.
And I like that I can very clearly see the digital needle.
That's the one that you can see all 6 strings at the same time, right?
That you have that option, yeah. So
Okay.
you can tell like right out of the gate what's wrong, and if you just want to do it by ear, you can just go, oh, there it is, or you can hit it to full like finding the actual and it's got the cents on either side. It's fantastic.
All right.
And comparably priced, I think the Peterson is about $10 more. Mm-hmm. This is it's a lot beefier. There's like a little tank.
Yeah.
And it has the strobe system, which is the circular pattern on the left, which is it's different. If you're used to a needle, this is different.
Yes.
Yeah.
But see, I grew up with strobe tuners. So.
Okay. Yeah. I'm very much getting used to it. I feel like I'm spending way more time on the the tuning than I normally would, but it is supposed to be like way more accurate too. Mm-hmm. Because at Peterson, all we do is tuners. So one of the main reasons I got this, we're getting ready to go record. And one of the things that we've done when we've recorded is John moans about, dude, are you in tune? And I'm like, yes, I'm in tune. Look, it says I'm in tune. Is it intonated? Yes, we double check the intonation. And it's just like, you can hear things and you're like, that doesn't sound right. Right? And it's certainly not my playing.
I think it's the bass player's fault.
It probably is. It usually is. But I was watching a little video with not with Rhett Shaw. He wasn't like, we were hanging out having a sandwich.
Hey, man, come on over here, Todd.
Former guest. Yeah, go check out our episode with Rhett Shaw. That was a great one. Anyways, he had one and it was talking about there's a setting on here for a sweetener. And I was like, okay, that caught my attention because I feel like I know what this is going to be about. And sure enough, it was. There's a setting that basically compensates. This is lame, just bare minimum knowledge of this right now, but essentially it compensates for, especially if you gorilla grip it, it's good for the upper part. No, it's good for the lower part. That's right. It's good for the lower part of the board. If you're doing a lot of big open chords and stuff, mostly, at least according to him, he said it's maybe not the best setting to do. But because I'm getting a lot more into the, little solo-y bits and stuff, I thought, I want to try this out, see how it works. So kind of fun, kind of exciting. And I had to put together another board. So I was like, I need another tuner. And I'm like, I'm going to try this one.
Yeah.
And it's, about $100.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah.
So wait, when you were describing the sweetener, you mean it corrects like intonation problems as you move?
It would be, it's like
a preset.
It's tempered tuning.
Yeah.
Is what it is. And
Sure.
Because inevitably guitars have a problem mostly on the G string because that is for some reason that one just goes out, and it has to do with the scale length and unless you have a specific, like there's a nut that you can get that actually changes the position of the G string, so that your first 3 positions, your first 3 frets, can differ greatly from above 12. So the tempered tuning gives it some. It changes the focus. you're basically going to be out of tune all the time, but it sounds better.
Yeah,
Wow,
and as
no,
long
man.
as long as everybody in the band does it
Well,
that way.
yeah, and if
then-
you temper tune, that's one of the problems. Like there were a lot of the fanned frets were the big rage.
Oh, yeah.
Years ago.
Did you ever try those, Barton?
No, I haven't tried those.
Yeah.
So
Me neither.
The problem, I never did either. I picked one up once and I said, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah.
But the problem was if you had one guitarist that had fan frets, the intonation was so perfect it made everybody else in the band sound completely out of tune.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I've noticed those have gone
For
away.
the kind of music that I'm making, it's not like I'm John Mayer up there, where every note is ringing out in history.
I thought you were John
Well,
Mayer.
No, I look a lot like him.
Yeah, similar.
But at the same time, I was like, yeah, but that I'm aware of it, and I'd like to see if this solves
I
it.
would give it a try.
I am gonna.
And
Yeah,
that's
no,
why I
I'm
got
really-
it, Tony.
I'm
Jeez.
intrigued. I mean, I'm mostly surprised because I associate sort of like pitch tracking and pitch correction stuff when it's for like a polyphonic instrument like a guitar as being introducing some artifacts and stuff. And like when you're playing like a Digitech whammy pedal or something that's like really throwing your tuning in another direction, people just kind of embrace that, right? That
Yeah.
it sort of sounds a little artifacty and it sounds a little funny, but like, whoa, I'm like down a whole octave, and that's fun.
Yeah.
But this tuner is obviously not for that. It's a
No.
tuner. Like it wants to maintain like a crystal clear. You're going to like throw that straight into an amp and it's going to be like fully exposed and unwelcome if there's any artifact at all. So I'm impressed
Yeah.
at that. Yeah.
And it's not like something you have to go get yourself buried into like menus and stuff. It's like one click and it's like, oh, I can choose that. Cool.
and does it sound good? Like even outside of the like intonation correction, does it sound?
I
it,
haven't-
like sounds clean.
I haven't tried the sweetener one,
All right.
but I do. I mean, the guitars seems to be in tune. I'm probably doing it wrong. Tony's going to go, "You're idiot. You're doing it wrong."
You're doing it wrong.
There's a good chance of that. But another cool thing about it is that you can change the overall color of the LED, which is kind of clutch because I know I personally don't like the amber ones. Like the Korg, I believe is amber. Korg makes an amber one.
Yeah.
A couple other ambery ones.
Well, I think
so
the
off-putting.
standard Peterson is that orange.
It is, but you got the whole spectrum, which is really cool.
Okay. What spectrum do you like?
I put it on like it's a magenta purple. It's nice.
Magenta purple.
Yeah,
Soothing.
sexy.
Nice.
Anyways, blurg. But the best way to hook this up to your board, Tony, is
How?
by using Tour Gear Designs patch cables.
I've heard of them.
Indeed. And I will need some new ones because I'm putting together another board.
Yeah, of course.
The Peterson is top mounted, which will go nicely into everything else. But the thing is, this is important.
Yeah.
This sits at the bottom of my board, which means that I need a longer cable than normal to go
Yes.
up to the top row and into so under the board into the top row. Yeah.
Oh,
but
that's complicated.
Now you see my life is troublesome. But Tour Gear is here to help us figure all this stuff out.
How?
And when you go to their website, you're going to find all the different lengths, all the different configurations, which is, to S and C shape. And when you go to you load up your cart, you're going to find a box. And in that box, Tony, what are you going to put?
You're going to put the guitar knobs, all lowercase, all one word, and you're going to save an extra 15%. That's 15% off an already wonderfully priced product.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're just fill up the shopping cart. You're going to be so happy that you did.
Indeed.
And like with the case with this tuner here, those jacks are awfully close together.
They are. Honestly, if I had two pancakes, it could be problematic.
I don't think you could put through two standard pancakes.
They'd have to go off to the sides, and that's a whole other.
Yeah,
that's a bunch of nonsense.
The actual round part of the plug is about the same size
Same
as
diameters
as the jack itself.
Yep.
And the cables are flat,
Yeah.
like a crepe. I'm
Indeed.
told.
Stop screwing around and go get these things.
Just do it.
Thank you to Tour Gear Designs Patch Cables for sponsoring our 4 on the Floor. Tony?
Let me get a little bit of this.
big wind. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 4 on the floor. No, all right. Barton McGuire, Cosmodio Instruments. What is your 4 on the floor?
All right, so I'm starting with the Electroharmonics Attack Decay. You guys know this one?
Tell us more.
All right. So it's an incredible pedal because, for the most part, when we think about effect pedals, we want things that like add stuff, add swirls or echoes or gaininess or something. Oh. And Attack Decay it's like basically a subtractive pedal. So it's like this dynamic processor where it detects the, when you play a note and it will swell into it by increasing the attack time, or you can increase or decrease the decay time. So it's going to sort of like mute you.
Kind of like rolling up on your volume, like.
Yeah, you could do all this stuff if you were like really deft with your volume knob or with a volume pedal. But this will do it in response to your playing automatically, and it's amazing what it can do. I mean, I think a lot of people have played with those swell type effects, and I love those. Do like a swell into like a heavy reverb or something, and it sounds so ethereal. But the decay side is something I haven't seen really in, I don't know of any other pedal off the top of my head that does that, where it like cuts you short, which sounds undesirable because we always want lots of sustain, but it can do these really cool, almost synth-like or like violin pizzicato-like sounds as you play these lines with like really, really short decay. And then, there is like an old big box version of this pedal that I don't have. I have the more recent version, but the more recent version also adds polyphonic ness to it. So you can play different notes and you're still sustaining. It used to be that, with the old one, you'd have to sort of like stop playing and then start again in order to get that envelope ramp to happen again. Whereas with the polyphonic detection, then I don't know how they do it. I think Electroharmonics does a pretty good job with their various like pitch tracking stuff. But it can like, swell or fade out of all the notes playing, even as you're sustaining one note while you initiate another.
Wow.
And it's just really, really expressive. You can get to really surprising places. And it's, to me, it's just very elegant because it does all of that without really adding anything. It's just subtracting.
Mm-hmm. So does this work like typical reverse tape delays where the harder you hit your strings, the more it clamps down, and then the softer you play, it brings them up?
I actually don't know if it's velocity sensitive in that way. Okay. But it will. But it is like that. It's definitely, that's like one of the main applications for it, is get that tape reverse kind of sound. Yeah.
That is very interesting. I'm going to have to learn more about that. I got to watch a few videos to like really get the gist of what this thing does.
It's kind of like a lesser known classic. It's been around for a long time and they've reissued it once or twice. It's an underrated one.
It's only like $150 brand new.
Yeah. And I mean, it's Electroharmonics, right?
Yeah.
They're like, I'm big fans of them.
The Mini's $95.
Yeah, there's a Mini. That's right. I don't know what they leave off. There's other stuff in this that I haven't talked about that I don't need to get into, but the Mini probably omits some of the
a lot
less important stuff. But hey, whatever.
Yeah,
I'm always mixed on those mini pedals. Like, you want to cram as much stuff on your pedal board as you can, of course, but like, I feel like sometimes it's too little, and I'm not able to like stomp on it in a satisfying way. Like the center of gravity isn't firm enough. You guys, can you relate to this?
I understand what you're saying, especially if you have a board that's got the wide gap.
Right.
Not cool.
Yeah. All right.
Interesting. Well, just a little announcement, everybody. Speaking of EHX, I just confirmed with a representative from EHX, so we're going to have him on the show.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, they got something really cool coming out, so very nice.
Cool.
It won't be Mike. I did check. And he remembered me from when I photobombed him when he was trying to eat a burrito. He says, "Oh, that guy." Anyways,
no interview for you.
It'd be hard to record a podcast while you're chomping on a cigar.
Yeah. I think it would be it'd be interesting. That's all I'll just say. It's interesting.
I'm sure it would. I mean, I'd listen to it for sure.
How about number 2? All
right, number 2. I was telling you guys a while ago about the WMD Protostar, but today I have the WMD Geiger Counter, which I think is sort of their flagship pedal. WMD is William Mathewson Devices. I think that's his name. And this is one of my favorite pedals of all time. It is a digital distortion pedal that is unabashedly digital in every way. It's essentially like a wavetable lookup, and you can scroll through all these different wavetables. So, the basic response to, your sound wave as you send it into a clean boost is if you send it a 1, you're going to get out a 1. If you send it a 10, you're going to get out a 10. And a lot of distortion pedals, they clip that waveform. So you send in a 1, you get out a 1. You send in a 10, you might get out a 5. And now you've clamped that waveform down, so it sounds like distortion. This wavetable lookup, it has all sorts of every pattern, every configuration of linear, non-linear, these loop-de-loos, all sorts of ways to fold and distort sound. And it doesn't try to sound analog. It doesn't try to sound like a vintage fuzz or anything like that. It's aggressive and grating, and it also does the sort of sample rate and bit reduction that we think of when we think of digital distortion. And it's just hard to put to words how wide ranging this pedal is and how different it is from every other distortion pedal you've ever used. I think it's really a masterpiece. So that's a real big endorsement. Everyone should go find one of these. It's bright and yellow.
It's about $300.
Yeah.
There's a used good one from Tokyo, Japan. So it was made here, I'm assuming.
I think so.
And then it was sent over there, and now it's not to get sent back. It's a lot of
Traveling
travel
around the
for a
world.
pedal.
Yeah.
Brand new. They seem to be, no. Yeah.
I don't know what the story is. I think WMD is still in existence and making pedals, but I know a bunch of them are no longer in production. I would hope the Geiger counter is. They've done a few variations. I have the classic Geiger counter, but there's a mini one and a pro one.
The pro one is $1,300.
Yeah, the pro one I'm sure is not around anymore.
Bananas.
You'd have to, yeah.
Not just, I'm not saying, it's crazy. Why? How could you charge that much for that thing? It's just, it does so much stuff. It looks like a Digitech super pedal.
Mm-hmm.
If they took a whammy and just threw a whole bunch of knobs on it and didn't make it a pedal. So not really a whammy at all. But you get my point. How about number 3?
Number 3, I have the Keeley Realizer. This is a reverb pedal that it's basically one half. Keeley has the Loomer, which is a shoegaze reverb plus fuzz combo pedal. Mm-hmm. And this just sort of breaks that reverb half off and just presents it as an isolated reverb pedal. If you want to pair it, then you can pair it with your favorite fuzz instead of with the built-in fuzz of the Loomer. And man, I got it a few months ago, and it's been on my board ever since, and I'm using it constantly. It really, it's supposed to emulate the sound of a few specific special devices from the first wave 80s, 90s shoegaze movement. And there's the I forget the name of all the original units, but there's the famous Slow Dive one, and there's the My Bloody Valentine one. And I really feel, I kick this thing on and I feel like I'm instantly Slow Dive. It's crazy.
Wow.
And going into, Pet Yeti, we can talk about later, but one of the things I really took care to try to do was to make it a great post reverb distortion, because I love that shoegazy wall of sound that you can get when you throw reverb into a distortion or fuzz circuit. Mm-hmm. And so the realizer on my pedal board is my pre distortion reverb. I have a different post distortion reverb. This is the pre-distortion reverb. So lots of fun with that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Those seem to be out there used. Oh, that's a custom shop.
Yeah, that one should be. That one I think is reasonably priced new, and there's
about
probably
$200.
Ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one can be found. Yeah.
All right.
How about number 4?
Number 4, I said I wasn't going to bring any back from before, but this one's coming back. This is the Electro-Harmonix Deluxe Memory Boy, because it's my favorite pedal.
Ah, yes.
And I told you guys some things about it, but it's all sorts of things I wasn't able to get to. And so this pedal, what I really love, I do love that it's a Deluxe Memory Boy and it's cheap, because that lets you, use and abuse it in various ways and mod it without worrying about ruining something
or
very
having
expensive.
It stolen.
Yeah, totally. But it's mostly this format. So this pedal, it has 2 stomps, one for bypass, one for tap tempo. It's got 6 knobs, and then in the middle, it's got these sort of cute 2 little buttons. And they actually make a few different pedals that are basically all the same platform, but with so there's like the Deluxe Memory Boy is sort of like the bottom shelf version, and then in the middle shelf you have the Deluxe Memory Man TT550 or TT1100 that do 550 milliseconds and 1100 milliseconds of delay respectively. And then they also made, and I don't think make anymore, and I think this will be very expensive if you look it up, the Deluxe Memory Man Tap Tempo. And I think the only different, and that I think fetches like $700 or $800 because they don't make it. It's all basically the exact same pedal, and I'm pretty sure it's just different Bucket Brigade chips that the sort of much sought after Tap Tempo uses, those like, Panasonic MN3005s or whatever it is. And then the Deluxe Memory Boy surely just uses sort of like probably the MN3205 like reissues, which I actually in general, I kind of like those Bucket Brigades. I also, of course, love the classic MN3005s, which are in all the Deluxe Memory Man, as well as a lot of other like classic Bucket Brigade delays. They're famous for having sort of like this really musical smear to them as the repeats blend into each other. Whereas the cheapo one, the 3205 that's in the Deluxe Memory Boy, it's like crunchy instead of smeary. But for the ways I use it, it really, really works. And I also just really like this format because it does all these, it's really, really feature rich and does all these wonderful things. It has expression input, and something that it does, and this is, I'm just going to say, everyone out there who's designing like a delay pedal, please listen to me here. Like, it gets to self oscillation relatively early on the feedback knob. Something that really, like, to me, one of my favorite things in the world is like self oscillating delay feedback. And this one, I don't know, you turn it like just past noon and you're starting to feed back, which means you can get like really rapid, like explosions of feedback if you dime it. And it like gets there, it gets to that crazy chaotic state like instantly. Whereas like on an El Capistan or something, it's so tasteful. I mean, Strymon, I love Strymon. Their pedals are beautiful and just incredibly pristine in how they sound. But sometimes I wish they like, I don't know, I guess the cliche is like, made the knob go up to 11. But like on an El Capistan, if I turn the feedback all the way up, it starts to like feedback a little bit. It starts to grow. And if you got a minute or two to spare, you can wait for it to get to like total chaos. But I don't want to wait that long. Yeah. So yeah. And then the other thing that these EHX delays do is they have this, and this is like one of the secret things. I almost don't want to speak it out loud because I love using it as a musician. But it has this incredible musical way that you can change between tap divisions. So I think a lot of delay pedals do this. You sort of like switch between your quarter notes or eighth notes or dotted eighths, and you hear the delay like shift in pitch. But this one, you press this button and you cycle through the tap divisions in this circle of like interval relationships. And so by tapping through it, you can create these like sequences of ascending and then dropping pitches. I do it a lot on stage, and people have no idea what you're doing, and it's like this like form of magic. I don't know. It's this really magical sound that it does. It's kind of like Chase Bliss did this delay pedal, the Thermae. I don't know if you guys remember this. Yeah. It was kind of all about that effect. And this one, I don't know. It's just sort of a different pedal that also kind of does that in this special way.
Cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, 4 great pedals.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, we're going to go from 4 great pedals to 1 super great pedal.
Yeah.
All right. We have in front of us, and if you're on any of the guitar-related stuff on Instagram, I know that you've seen this at this point. You had to have, because, you guys are doing a heck of a job getting this out there, just constant demos on
That's
Instagram.
My man, Jesse. He's like, the other person in this company and sort of a thought partner in a lot of this stuff. And I'm allergic to social media. I mean, I love it and appreciate it, but I don't know how to do it. And it's like fluent language to him. So that's all to credit him. And I appreciate him.
Yeah. So just keep your eyeballs open. Just say pet Yeti at your phone like about 10 times, and it'll happen. Now
3 times.
3 times.
And
yes,
it appears.
And it appears. This is so. What is? Tell us. Elevator. We're going up to the second floor. Ding. What is the Pet Yeti?
Yeah, Pet Yeti is a distortion pedal that is wild and monstrous and unexpected,
If you want
but
it
at
to
the
be.
same time tameable, and that's why it's a Pet Yeti. And you can really, it's about harnessing this monstrous force. It's not a clone of any popular distortion circuit. It's its own new weird thing, and you can take it places that most distortion pedals or fuzz pedals won't go. But then you can really harness it in highly musical ways, so it's not just reserved for like the weird oddball sounds that it is admittedly great for. But so it's got, in terms of like really aggressive features, it's got like a really wide spanning gain range, of course. It's also got an analog bit crusher that smashes you can turn that on or off, and when it's on, it smashes your entire signal down into a single bit, but with infinite sample rate because it's still an analog signal. But then it also has features like a clean mix, so you can blend in that distorted texture to your taste. It has pre and post distortion tone shaping capabilities. And one of the reasons why we added some of these features is because the sort of prototypical version that I was making a long time ago before I started Cosmodio, and I was just sort of making pedals for fun, I cooked up an early version of this circuit and found that it was like especially popular among bassists. And I tried to figure out why that was. And it was because of the way I was handling the tone shaping before it goes into the distortion circuit. And so now I've opened that up into something that you can really control. So you can make it more like a conventional guitar distortion that's going to shave out that low end for clarity before you hit it, or you can just like blast it with like low end energy before it hits the distortion, to just create like entirely different textures. And then as these controls are all super interactive. And I really do like, I think a lot of pedals are designed to help their users out to not get into trouble places. And
Yes.
this one does not do that. Like all the controls are really interactive, and I've not what's the word I'm looking for? Like throttled any of these controls to like keep you in the safe zone of where things sound good. Like you can make it sound bad if you want to. You can make it sound like it's like broken and crackling. And to me, I don't know. That's one of the really important parts. I don't want to sound pretentious or anything, but like I do, call the company Cosmodio Instruments. Pet Yeti, the reason we're talking about this, everyone, is because it's the only pedal I've launched so far, and I hope to launch others this year, and I'm working on one right now that I'm really excited about. But I do think about pedals as instruments, or they can really be instruments unto themselves. But something about an instrument is like, you have to learn it. Like you might have to spend some time with it, and it's not always going to sound good. I think it's sort of funny when people are just like, oh yeah, like love this thing, like can't get a bad sound out of it. It's like, oh man, if you can't get a bad sound out of it, it probably doesn't do that much. Like if you walk up to a saxophone, you're gonna like only get bad sounds out of it until you spend a long time learning how to use it. Like I don't really think that's a great like barometer for an instrument. I think if something has a lot of depth, I think if something has the sort of aesthetic open-endedness that you can use to like play all sorts of different music, then it's got to have it's just got to have a lot of space that you can move in, and some of it's going to work for you and some of it's not, and that's the discovery process. But so designed these things so that not only does it work really well for guitar, but we really want it to be used for everything. It's like a distortion pedal and an introduction to sort of noise and aggressive sounds for everybody. And so we've really been marketing it that way too. And so we have people who, a lot of bassists are using it. We have people using it with like their electric ukuleles, with the drum machines and synthesizers. That's one of my favorite applications.
You can go full Muse on this one.
Completely. Yeah. It's great for industrial. It's great for, honestly, it's great for psychedelic and alternative rock and textures. I just sold it this week to someone who I always ask after someone buys it, because I'm curious, like, what are you going to do with this thing? And someone was like, oh yeah, I'm buying it to use with my hurdy-gurdy. And I was like, wow.
Why not?
That was a first for me. That's like beyond my wildest dreams in terms of like trying to make something to distort everything. So it's being used on hurdy-gurdy, which makes me very, very happy.
Well, what's interesting is I can't believe I actually know this, but there's a professional. I believe she's Irish. She's a professional hurdy-gurdyist, but it's like an electric one.
Yeah.
But it's not like something that sounds like it's like a hurdy-gurdy. Sitting there doing the hurdy-gurdy thing, and it's just like, man, you're taking this to the next level.
Yeah. I mean, after that customer got in touch with me, then I like went down a little rabbit hole of just like watching electric hurdy-gurdy videos on YouTube. And it like opened my eyes to a world I didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
So yeah. And I should say, yes, it's great for doing all these weird things, but it really is like a highly usable pedal. The gain range can be turned down to, and it has adjustable input gain. So you can adjust the headroom for whatever you're plugging into it, whether that's a line level signal or a guitar. And it does sort of break up and even low mid gain overdrive sounds as well. And then with that parallel clean path, you can create really like textured guitar sounds. So yeah, it's a pedal that you can take a lot of different places. At least that's the goal.
And that's, the two controls on this that really impressed me were the clean blend, which I just love that in pedals when you can mix some of that clean signal, but also the shape control.
Very clever.
And that,
and how you use that with the tone knob.
Yeah. I mean, I just think, somebody that's looking for something that's, not a typical distortion pedal, I think is going to find a world of things. I think the Bit Crusher was a little too intense for my taste.
That's fair enough.
But yeah. I mean, there are people that will, I'm sure will like that. But it's cool. And the other thing that I thought was really cool is the artwork that's on the top side. It's kind of like
it's amazing.
I mean, almost like Southwestern.
It doesn't look like anything.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's what. In all honesty, ladies and gentlemen, and Barton, the reason that I clamored to get a hold of these guys is that I was seeing something that I hadn't seen, and I was pretty sure I was hearing things in ways that I hadn't heard. And that is a rare combo, and that's why we're so we got to get you on and talk about this. So
I'm really glad to hear that. I mean, when it comes to the artwork and the way the pedal looks, I worked with a good friend of mine. It's an artist who goes by the name Goldsuit, and you can find her work at artofgoldsuit.com. And this is one of her aesthetics. And I've worked with her in different ways in the past, and there was not a lot that I knew going into making this pedal, but one of the only things I knew was no, I want her to do the artwork. And I really wanted the pedal to be kind of like a showpiece. I think part of that's to
it looks
to
like
give
a
it some appeal.
Radiohead album cover or something. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just it's
Yeah,
awesome.
I wanted to use bright colors, and we have a couple different colorways. There's one that's sort of like bright neon and bright pink, and then there's one that's black and red and doomier, so people can find something that works for them. But no, I wanted something that stood out on a pedal board, that stood out on a shelf or as a thumbnail on a web page. And maybe that sounds superficial, but I think that's one of the important ways of getting discovered and getting people to pay attention. And then, of course, you've got to have a great product in there.
Yeah.
That's going to inspire people. But the way you're going to even get a second of their time to wonder about something in the first place and then go and take a listen is by making it look really cool. And that's another thing, once again, if I'm making pedals and I want them to be instruments, another thing about instruments is that they're usually beautiful things that a saxophone or a harp or a piano or a guitar, it's not,
or a penny
I
whistle.
don't know. Yeah, hey,
Or a hurdy-gurdy.
Everyone's got their taste. No, but
The hurdy-gurdy is the
I know you
potato
guys-
bug of of instruments.
I know you guys appreciate guitar aesthetics,
Oh,
and
yeah.
and you're big into that, and I don't I take that seriously. I don't think it's superficial.
It's
I
not.
think it's all about having something that inspires you, and that if you're operating something and that thing as an object is just a beautiful thing, then it's going to help you be more expressive and make more interesting music.
I completely agree with that, and I like how you've put so much consideration into all of the aspects of this. And I was going to touch on the one thing you mentioned, the space between, and Dave Matthews popped his head in real. Hey, what's up, Dave? But you're creating the space between all of these things, sound. But I think we can't state enough. Each one of these knobs has so much space on its own. And it really is one of those things. If you set it to noon and punch it, you're going to get noise. But truly getting in there and messing with it, it's only 5 knobs, ladies and gentlemen. It's only 3 toggle switches. We're not asking you to deep dive into, some insane digital menuing system or something. That's part of the fun. You can sit there and twist a knob and go, oh, wait a minute, what is this doing? That's fantastic.
Yeah,
cool.
I really wanted to make it playable. And yes, that you can, like for me, I think a lot of people these days, like it's not that unusual that people, you're operating your pedal board mid-song and mid-set and like you're playing the knobs and your pedals. Or because I designed this, to also be really useful for electronic musicians and producers and people that like might have it on a tabletop, like next to their drum machine or their mixing rig. And you can like play it as you would play a mixer. And yeah, to do that, I got real nerdy. I'm like very delighted that you call out the spacing of the knobs and stuff. Because that's something that I don't think a lot of people, think about when they look at a pedal, and that's fair enough. But like, I spent real time like with calipers and like really trying to find the optimal arrangement. I mean, it's not a very large pedal. It's not like a big box EHX thing or anything like that. It's still relatively small. But yeah, has 8 controls and
power packed. And the physical space is one thing. And I honestly, I wasn't even talking about that, but that's interesting that you pointed that out.
Oh, that's what I thought you were talking. You're talking about just like
saying,
the amount of range of everything.
The range that each thing has, which I think a lot of pedals we find that all the controllers are made to work with each other and to help complement each other. These are not. You can get that. You most certainly can get that, but you can also make them fight.
Yeah. No, it can get impolite.
Yeah. Very, very cool stuff. Now, you're also putting this in front of a lot of synthy type stuff. We kind of talked about that a little bit. The minute I saw this and when we first started talking, so all day long, I listen to EDM. And I don't mean like Miami sunglasses, like, it's like my 3 favorite artists are in no particular order: No Mana, Deadmau5, and Solomon.
Love it.
And KX5. This is, all day long. And the minute I saw it, I was like, oh man, that needs to be in like some, like Eurorack something to let one of these guys play with this.
Yeah, I mean, I also, love playing synths and enjoy the modular synth thing and have a Eurorack and have made a couple one-off like Eurorack modules of this circuit. And it's something I'll keep in mind. Right now, I'm like trying to focus on guitar pedals, and pedals are still a format that of course electronic musicians can use too. Mm-hmm. But the one thing that I've had a few requests for, and I'm like, would really like to see this through at some point, would be a stereo version of the pedal, which would be very unusual for, obviously a lot of like digital guitar pedals are in stereo, but there's not a lot of like analog distortion pedals in true stereo. So that's like, I don't know, a pipe dream that maybe I'll realize at some point.
How about an expression pedal?
Yeah. Oh man. So we were chatting about this a little while ago, but how interested I am in expression pedals and in gesture controls, and how someday I'm going to market this thing that I've cooked up that I use as a musician, where it maps the pressure underneath my feet to control expression pedal inputs on my guitars. And I find it just like, I don't know, it's become a really important part of my playing. I don't know if there's a market for it. Maybe someday I'll find out. But I did not put an expression pedal input on the Pet Yeti just because I couldn't find I don't know.
It wasn't the right time. Maybe that's V2.
That's beach. The truth is, like, this pedal, like, it's the first one out of the gate for me, and part of me wants to make something that's really wide ranging and exciting, but at the same time, I had to like draw the line somewhere, and I already feel like I was like not all that editorial in all the things I put together. And I'm really glad, Tony, that you like the shape knob, because at the time I'm just like, man, do I want, like, I can't have like a tone knob and a shape knob on the same pedal.
Yes,
like,
you can.
Have some taste, Barton. Like, you can't throw the whole
Pull
everything in the kitchen
yourself
sink at this
together,
thing.
man.
Yeah. So, but I went with it. But no, maybe the expression pedal input would have gone a bit too far. But I do love. I mean, that's a really important part of pedals, and on future Cosmodio products, and the one that I'm working on right now, there will definitely be expression control as a feature.
Ooh la la.
Now, I think we should point out that no Yetis were actually harmed in the manufacture of this pedal. Is that correct?
That's right. No, we treat them very humanely.
A dazzling one modeled for the cover, though.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Well, we are so glad that you're out there doing this kind of thing, and we only expect to hear more good stuff. I know I was just about to wrap it up, but here's something else I'll say. We can all tell when we pick up, especially a pedal, I think, but a guitar, an amp, whatever. You can be blindfolded and pick something up and say, "This is quality stuff. It's very well made." Like, without even hearing it, you can tell. It's the feel, and I think that is something that came through for me when I first took these out of the box.
Wow. Thank you. I mean, yeah, I put a lot into it. And I will say, I don't know, you guys, I'm so appreciative that you're having me here on the show. And I know I just got to like blather on for many minutes about like all the cool things I think are about my product. But like,
that way we don't have to blather.
well, but it's true. Like, yes, there's all these things that I'm proud about that I want to tell people about. But at the same time, this is a new company, and it's kind of scary and freaky when you're starting something new and you don't know how it's going to be received. And it's been very, very humbling, but I just so appreciate, I don't know, you guys reaching out not only to me, but like to all sorts of other small builders. I mean, like we're really just getting started. Like, we're very small scale right now. So, if anyone buys a pedal, like I've made that pedal by hand, and it's just really rad what you guys are doing.
Thank you so much. I do have two more things I think is worth throwing out there, and then we're going to motor on to Tony's segment here. First of all, and maybe this kind of goes hand in hand, tell us about what you do as a day job, essentially.
Sure.
And also, how much time did you spend developing this before it hit the market?
Yeah. Well, so as a day job, so I'm a technologist and a software developer, and right now, well, I'm trying to split. I mean, my dream is to make this pedal thing my full-time job, but right now I'm sort of splitting my time, where I do pedals half the time, and then the other half of the time I'm consulting for this mental health tech project, where I'm working on this application called Soluna, which was commissioned by the state of California to help address the youth mental health crisis there. So it's good work. And I believe, we're moving it beyond California and into other markets now too. So yeah, a really great team and a product that I'm proud to be a part of. So that's very fulfilling work.
It's very important stuff.
Yeah, totally. So that's great. At the same time, it's, I've got a pedal staring at me and gear staring at me the whole time. So I'm always of this like split brain. And I want to do everything in the world at the same time, but there's not enough hours in the day. Yeah. In terms of the amount of time I spent developing Pet Yeti, I mean, this one started as, like I mentioned, it started as a little one-off thing that I made, I think like 10 years ago now, back when I lived in Seattle, and just made for me and my bandmates, and sold, a few at the used music stores around town. And then when I started last year, and I decided to like actually I had a job change, and I suddenly sort of had some space in my life, and I was like, I'm finally going to do it. I'm going to start a pedal company. It's always been my dream. And I had some like highfalutin ambitions to make like some really wild digital pedals, which I do hope to get to at some point. I'm a software developer by trade, and so my mind sort of naturally goes there first. But then Jesse, you know, who wasn't the community manager yet, it's just like one of my good friends, I was telling him about it, and he was like, that sounds great, but I was telling him how hard it was and how I was struggling with the technology, and he's like, man, you don't have to like reinvent the world on day one. You made something all these years ago, and we really liked it, and so why don't you take another look at that and just like start there? And it was really, really great advice. And so then I went back and sort of opened it up and went back to the drawing board. But I don't know. I spent like months geeking out and like redesigning that pedal. And because I'd never, I'd done a lot of like manual pedal making before, where I was just sort of using like breadboard, circuit boards, and just drilling everything by hand. But this, I wanted to be scalable, and like I had to teach myself a bunch of things and learn about a bunch of like, just build a whole little supply chain. Anyway, you asked a simple question. I'm giving a very long, rambly answer because I'm a long, rambly kind of guy. But like, it took me a long time. It took me months to develop. But now I've learned a lot, and so I'm trying to have a faster sort of research and development cycle for the next pedal.
Dig it.
Nice.
Super cool. Well, I think that was a great way to cap off. You know, we were hyping up the pedal, but it's really important to know, like, well, you know, what's the effort look like? And you know, is this thing just slung together with a hope and a dream? No, it's clearly not. So a little bit more, de-risking there for your next purchase, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I just spoke a mutual language there, didn't I? De-risk.
Yeah, you did.
I like to de-riskify.
Yeah. Okay, Tony,
Yes?
what do we got in the hopper for the Would You Rather?
Well, you know, Todd, at this point of the show, it's a little game that we like to play called Would You Rather?
Yes. Shut it. Shut it, Tony.
This week's Would You Rather is brought to us by our good friend Daniel Brokenborough
Yes.
from Wollongong, Australia. G'day, mate.
All right.
You call that a knife?
Uh-huh. Okay.
So, the devil comes down to Ohio, and he had too many drinks, and he's looking to make a deal. His offer is this. You can choose an ultimate, you're crazy good, ultimate, unlimited guitar rig for any time you play. But in exchange, he gives you one of two choices.
Oh.
Choice one. Anytime you pick up the guitar, you will...
John Denver.
No.
Oh, damn it.
No.
Go ahead.
Shush. Anytime you pick up a guitar, you will magically be wearing work boots with soaking wet socks.
Wow.
That's gross.
Okay, that's not John Denver. I was way off.
Yeah, you were way off. Or option two is anytime you're playing your guitar, your nose itches incessantly.
Yes. Okay. Two very annoying things.
Two very annoying things.
Almost equally annoying.
I don't know.
Almost.
Well, I don't know.
All right, Tanya, what are you going to do?
I've got to go with the nose itch because I cannot stand soaking wet socks. Ugh, it's just gross. Just grosses me out just thinking about it.
Yeah.
And plus it's an electrical hazard.
True.
Safety first.
Safety first. So I can live with an itchy nose.
Yeah.
But I cannot live with swamp foot.
Okay, that's fair.
All right.
Let's see, Barton, how about yourself?
I mean, the itchy nose thing, that is a real, the wet socks is something I can mostly avoid. Itchy nose, we've all felt that. That happens on stage, and it's miserable. I feel like you get the little, like, if you have a microphone sitting in front of you, you can just sort of
You can give it a little
scratch it on the grill of that SM58. But no, I would choose the itchy nose too, just because, like, I don't know, I do so much tap dancing on the pedals as I play, and I just wouldn't have the accuracy or the dexterity with big clunky work boots and
squishy
sloppy,
socks.
squishy socks. Miserable.
Yeah, that is rough.
Toddless?
I'm gonna take the itchy nose because that's something that is always in the back of my head, that something bodily is going to occur, and I'm going to be stuck in it when I practice, or if I'm playing at home. It happens, and I have to scratch that itch, and I don't want to do that. And here's the difference: when if you jump in the water and you've got wet boots and you've got wet socks, you're wet. You're like, everything's all wet, which is different than if you're like walking across the kitchen in socks and you step on like a melted ice cube. That sucks, because then now that's a weird feeling, because that's unexpected. So that's my rationale with that. I'm just glad it wasn't an itchy nose or a boots or itchy butt or something like that. Would have been not as good. That might have been harder for you guys to figure out. Anyways, let's go to.
Well, thank you, Daniel, for providing us such an in-depth, painful experience.
Yes. You know what? Here's a challenge, Daniel. We know that Australia is known for one thing and one thing only.
What would that be?
Everything is trying to kill you there.
Well, that's probably true.
Do something with that, Daniel.
Except
challenge, Daniel.
I don't think the koala bears want to kill you.
Koala bears are fearsome things.
No.
Oh yes.
You've got those
they're mean bastards.
You've got to confuse with panda bears.
No.
I think they got those drop bears down there. You guys heard about those?
No.
Yeah, they're ferocious.
Here we go.
Like rabid koala that will drop down from the trees and rip your face off.
Do they really?
Happened to me.
I think so. I know. I've heard many stories about people like, oh, it's a cuddly koala, and then it goes like, ah.
I think drop bears are kind of an Australian cryptid, but so I don't think they're real.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Maybe
there is a
probably
lot
not.
down there. I lived down there I lived in New Zealand for a bunch of years.
Oh, wow.
And spent some time down under, and it couldn't be more different. New Zealand, you could there's nothing there that will hurt you. It's unbelievable. You could walk out into the woods buck naked
Only
and just
words.
sleep, and you'd be fine. In Australia, over in Oz, everything that crawls around is toxic and wants to bite you.
Maybe your next pedal could be my pet drop bear.
Ooh, I love cryptids. I've got a Yeti pedal. I'm like all obsessed with all that stuff.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you, Daniel. We expect something coming from you soon.
Yes.
All right. Also, bowl haircuts. That seems to be something that Australia is very.
Bowl haircuts?
Yeah, all the rockers from Australia got the bowl in the front and the little scraggles in the back. It's a thing.
Except the guy from Midnight Oil.
No, he didn't have any, but that was a long time ago. That's a deep cut. Hit it. Go.
Well, Todd, at this point of the show, there's a special group of people we love to thank. These are our executive producers. Now, an executive producer makes this show possible. How do you become one? Head over to patreon.com/the Guitar Knobs. Check out a couple different levels in which you can participate. Become a friend, a sponsor, a hero, an all-around nice person of the podcast. Each level comes with some very nice thank you gifts and opportunities to win giveaways.
Yep.
I know we've got a few coming up. We just had a bunch. There's more coming, folks. But in addition to all that great stuff, there's one thing more. And what would that be? That was hard for you to do, wasn't it?
Yes.
I noticed. You were only acting, though. So that's right. You get your name read on the thing, and that's what I'm going to do right now. So special thanks to these executive producers: John Sebastian, Trevor Ellenberg, Cameron Pampas, James Bell, Michael Furman, Eric Hemmer, Brett Hogarth, Gregory Randall, Don Kloss, Ralph Gottschalk from Wonderful Audio Technology. What? Rusty Sneeden, Vader Pedals, John Helverson, Rick Calhoun, Trevor Gunberg, Elad Mizrahi, Richard Kendall, James Pennington, James White, Justin Jones, John Esterle, Anthony Lathrop, Stefan Lamb, Michael Senchuk, Ken Sayers, Darren Gregory, Tom Barazin, and Sean S. But wait, Todd, there's more.
Oh.
We have a special group of executive producers. We call them our Grand Poobahs. These are our #1, top of the heap, king of the hills.
Indeed.
When it comes to executive producers. So special thanks to these Grand Poobahs. Adam Johnson, Anthony Gemolero, Billy Spitfire Unlimited, Bob Crouch, Brian Robison, Cody Foster, David Kaminga, David Tyndall, Enrico Fernando, Fox Hill Studio, Hex Matos, Jack Cadian, James Pennington, John Williams, LSJ Music Company, Matt Hart, Michael Van Zant, Michio Murakishi, Moon Guitars, Paul Von Eppinger, Sam Jett, Science of Sound, Steve Keys, Tyler Rhines, Zach Oswald from Brandon Wham Pickups, and Jimmy Newton. Thank you.
Indeed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all so very much for doing that. It, keeps the wheels on the bus going round and round.
It warms the cockles of our hearts.
Yes, indeed. So, Barton McGuire, we want to thank you for joining us tonight, telling us all about this awesome pedal, and most importantly, for making said awesome pedal.
Man, well, that was fun, guys. Fun. And I've been listening to the podcast, and I'm glad that by getting me involved, hit me just to the awareness of it, because it's a good one, guys. I don't know of another one that's quite like it. So
Fantastic.
Yay.
Yeah. Where can people go get this said pedal?
Yep, so you can get it on our website, cosmo.io, or on Reverb.
Okay.
Just search Pet Yeti, Cosmodio Instruments, where you'll find us.
Excellent. Now, Tony, where
Yes.
can people see what you're doing?
Go over to pickguardian.com. Check out the things that I do, which is making custom pick guards. You want to make your guitar even more your own? I can help. Shoot me an email. Let me know what you're trying to do, what you need, and I will take very good care of you.
Yes.
Pickguardian.com.
Yes. Well done. You're well on your way to ads. Actually, hey, speaking of ads, did you know, ladies and gentlemen, that Tony
Yes.
is in a TV commercial in Ohio?
Yes.
Yes. It's just it's on all the TVs. And guess what else? So am I.
Oh.
Yes,
But you're merely Franklin County.
That's true. That is true. Oh,
I'm statewide.
yeah. How about that, huh? That's kind of neato.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go to each other's award shows.
Yes.
All right. You can shoot me a DM on Instagram at Guitar Knobs. We'd love to hear from you. Just tell us what's up. Love to get to know you. We have so many people that we get to interact with, and it's just the best. So do that. Make sure you take care of that. Also, please go listen to Dead Pixels.
Oh, yes.
When
thanks.
at your soonest opportunity, get some Dead Pixels up in your breakfast cereal. You can make that a shirt or something like that.
That's good.
And then
That's good.
also, when you've run out of Dead Pixels, go and hit follow and listen and all that stuff for the Villentinos.
How do you spell that?
VILLAIN IANTINOS. AIN. It's Villentinos. Why'd you do that to me?
I do it every time because I love to see
Yes.
those little gears
I know.
start breaking.
It's one of those things. Like, it's a cool name, and there's like spelling.
Why do they have to spell it that way?
Yeah. Anyway, so hey, thank you all for joining us, for hanging out with us. We feel like you're right there listening with us. So have a fantastic guitar week, everybody, and subscribe.
Yeti. Crystal clear.
Yes,
Marvelous.
as clear as an unmuddied lake. All right, Barton McGuire. Yeah, you, Barton. My first band was named after. It was called Malaco Plus.
Well, that's what I'm going to say. If you drink enough Malaco, you're
Yeah.
going to be out there.
Yeah.
That's a very sophisticated first band name. Like, if I forget what my first band name would have been, but I was in a band in middle school called The Goats.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
that's That's like a middle school band name.
That is.
Malaco Plus. That's sophisticated.
That it was. I think. Flim flam floozle, shabazadoozle. I'm currently looking at a different kind of blank screen, but one nonetheless. Tony.
You're stepping onto the stage and you're making sure you don't have to like use the bathroom before things kick off, and you're like wondering how it's going to go.
Every time. What's up
and
with
then
all right, lift your leg elsewhere, my friend.
Maybe you should think about it.
No, no, because then I'm giving in to superstition, and I cannot do that. I shall not. We were perilously close to like turning into some kind of a prog thing. Unbeknownst to me, I wasn't even hip on prog, but my bass player and my drummer were in two bands before, and they like all they talked about was like King Crimson and and Rush, and I was like, yeah, hey, here's some Black Sabbath.
yeah.
Now you've done it, Barton. You've hurt Todd's feelings.
Oh man.
It is getting warm in here.
It is getting warm.
Can you open that door?
Do you want me to open that door?
It'll get us some air.
Oh, jeez. I got to do everything around here.
That's my foot, thanks. That's my toe thumb. Yeah.
Hello, a good toe thumb.
So,
maybe one or two.
Hey. This
Okay.
is my
Okay, Todd Brain.
reality. Okay?
What's up?
What?
Huh?
And away we go.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.